Hello guys, Aspen. I'm hiking a beautiful Norwegian winter day. It snows, the snow is gone, but it's cold. It's -3 degrees, and I'm testing my GoPro Hero 10 with the latest firmware, where highlight clipping was one of the things GoPro has fixed with this issue. Today we're gonna test and see if that's true. I'm now shooting with the EV comp set to 0, and pay attention to the sky especially, and to see if anything is blown out. There's not many skies on the sky now, clouds, so it's not that easy, but pay attention to the details and see how the camera exposes or clips the highlights. In previous update, one of the problems with the Hero 10 was blown out sky, and that's why all GoPro users always done the one trick in setting down the EV comp to -0.5 or -1. So we're gonna test that today and see, and I think I'm gonna compare it with the Dji Action 2, which I think exposes better than the GoPro. You can't see so much clipping on the Action 2 as you've seen on the GoPro Hero 10. So we're gonna test that. I'm walking in a beautiful place now, and we're gonna put the camera down and see. I'm gonna find a place, maybe down here, and we're gonna test that. Try to point the camera more or less to the sun. I don't have any ND filter, but I think it's a good test to see how good the camera exposes. Okay guys, I think this is a good spot to put on the cameras and see how good it exposes and see how the clipping is. I'm shooting now with the EV comp set to 0. You normally don't do that with the GoPro, but we're gonna test it today and see head to head with the Action 2 and see which camera capture most details in the sky and maybe the surroundings. So let's test that. The test is going to be done in 4K 30 in wide with both camera. Okay guys, we're now shooting directly to the sun. How does the exposure look on the sky? Both camera is set to 0 in EV compensation, high bit rate on both camera, natural color profile. But which camera exposes best to the sun? It's gonna be fun to see how good the update is from GoPro, since they've done something with the clipping, especially in the highlights when the sky is blown up. But I think that's more typical if you're moving around and suddenly pointing the camera towards the sky. We're gonna test that, of course. But this is EV comp set to 0 on both camera. We're now gonna tweak the EV comp to -0.5 on GoPro and -0.7 on, or -0.3 on the Dji Action 2. So let's do that. Okay guys, we're back again on both of the camera. The GoPro is set to -0.5 and the EV comp, and the Action 2 is set to -0.7. Which camera exposes best to the sky, and can you see any surrounding details? The sky is pretty bright and the sun is bright. There are a few clouds on the sky, not much at all, but it's dimming the light a little bit, so the sky could possibly see a little bit washed out. But which camera exposes best to the sky and to the surrounding? You can see an island in the horizon over there. Can you see any details on it? Remember that the Action 2 is much wider, so the field of view is wider. But how does this look? Maybe I should try to set it to standard, but I'm setting both camera to wide. That's the right thing to do. In 4K 30. EV comp set to -0.5 on the Hero 10 and -0.7 on the Action 2. Let's set the EV comp to -1 and see how that looks. Okay guys, both cameras set to -1 in EV compensation. How does the image look like? Can you see a lot of details, or is the image too dark? So which camera exposes best to the sky and to the surroundings? Especially pay attention to the horizon. Can you see clearly details on the islands? Gonna be fun to see which camera exposes best, and if there are any clipping or any blown out sky. I don't think so. We're gonna test them side by side, of course, when we're walking in and out of lightning. So we're gonna do that soon. Okay guys, this is the last test. I moved the camera and set the EV comp to 0 on both camera. The sun is on the left side of the cameras. How does it expose to the sky? You can see some clouds in the distance, and there are not many clouds, but the cloud is a little bit foggy, or the sky, not much. It should be some blues in it, quite a lot. But can you see any details in the horizon? There are some skies far away from here. I can see them with my eyes, but can you see any details, and how does the colors look? So which camera exposed best? It's the middle of the day. The sun is quite low on the sky in Norway, of course, now. Since it's winter time, the sun is turning soon, so can't wait for brighter days. But this is a nice day to test this, I think. We're gonna walk and see how good the cameras expose, and I think we're gonna do that with EV comp set to 0. That's the best on both cameras, so we can see which camera exposes best when you're moving around in and out of sunlight. Okay guys, now we're gonna move a little bit so we can see how good the cameras expose going in and out of sunlight, which camera performs best in auto settings with the latest update on the GoPro Hero 10. I'm standing behind a tree. You can see the sun flare coming through the trees. But which camera performs best? Let me move this way. Directly to the sun. EV comp is set to 0 on both camera. Moving quickly. One more time. Quickly. How good is, how quick are the cameras to change to the right? You can see the sun flare coming through. Let's move the camera up to the sky. And down again. Let's walk this way from a dark area to a bright area. That's a good test. Pay attention to the details. The image is much wider on the Action 2 than the GoPro Hero 10, but directly to the sun, which camera exposes best? Let's walk this way. Turn quickly. Going into dark area here. Can you see a lot of jittering in the image with the stabilization in low light? That's been an issue, I think, on the Action 2. But how does it look now? In low light, the Action 2 is better than the GoPro. So guys, tweak this. I have both of the camera on the same distance. It's a lot wider of course on the Action 2, but I'm shooting in wide 4K 30, which camera performs best in all auto mode. And I have the sun to my face, which camera exposes my face best? The Hero 10 or the Action 2. Let me turn. We have the sky directly behind me. This is with the latest firmware on the GoPro Hero 10. Does it perform better than the Action 2? The sky is pretty blue and there are some details behind me, especially the islands and a few clouds. So you guys tell me which camera you think have the best image. GoPro can shoot in much higher resolutions than the Action 2, and this is in 4K 30. In my test, if you're gonna shoot in 4K, especially with the Action 2, 4K 60 is the best frame rate to use, especially when the lighting conditions isn't great. Seems to like higher frame rates more than lower frame rates, but for good in really low light I recommend shooting in lower frame rates. Then the sensor, it's easier for the sensor to handle that. And how are the audio? I'm using the screen module on the Action 2, but this test was meant to be an exposure test in pretty sunny light. So let's film the rest of the video with the Action 2, and I'll see you in the next one. Remember to subscribe. Bye bye.